you, David. So it's great to be here. The topic of my talk today is AI-driven advanced bioinformatics to accelerate drug development. So, as many of you might have heard, that drug development has increasingly becoming difficult and expensive, with the average cost of a single drug to be on the market ranging about $2 billion, and only 1 in 10 drugs in development will ultimately get approved. Also, with the development timeline, some kind of ranges from 10 to 15 years. That is expectingly that we want to really accelerate that process and bring the cost down and increase our probability of success. Having said that, a preemptive message to the audience is that this talk is not going to be a technical focused talk. It's more about the journey, who we are, what we do, what we're trying to become, and what are we doing to trying to get there. So I'd like to first start with a little bit of background about CSL. I often feel that this is a necessary part of the information dissemination because we're not really a household brand. When I first joined CSL about 5 years ago, I told my cousin that, I'm now working with CSL. And she was saying, I never knew that your work is related to sugar making. And then I realized that, she got confused between CSR and CSL. So it's probably not until the pandemic that we become more of a household name when we started manufacturing COVID vaccines. So probably, this audience may know CSL a bit better, but I just want to talk about who we are. So CSL is actually a fairly old entity. We started about just over 100 years ago. We are known as the Commonwealth Serum Laboratory, CSL. And then we only became incorporated and listed on the stock market about 30 years ago to become a business entity. Since then, we have undergone phenomenal transformation, incorporating multiple business, CSL Seqirus in the vaccine business, CSL V4 from last year's acquisition in nephrology and iron deficiency, and with our traditional business of CSL Behring on biotherapeutics. So, what we really are is we are the global biotechnological leader in two core business, especially in the CSL Behring and the CSL Seqirus part, providing life-saving therapies to more than 100 countries. And now we have employees, I think, in the range of 32,000 globally. Our field spans 6 therapeutic areas, which is only came into effect about 5 years ago. That goes from the first is immunology, and then hematology, and then we have respiratory, cardiovascular, and metabolism, and transplant. And in addition to that is the vaccines. And now we have nephrology and iron deficiency as well. But what we essentially are doing is transforming from a historically plasma-based business, from replacement therapy to a more modernized biotechnology modulation, disease modulation kind of business. When I talk about a replacement therapy, I'm talking about what we historically do. We take the blood from the patient, we get the plasma, we extract very essential proteins that's critical to biology from healthy donors, and then we're providing these critical proteins to patients who are deficient in these proteins. That used to be more of a manufacturing business. You extract it and you put it into someone. But now we're more modernizing into biotech. And so we now have platforms in drug development spanning multiple modernized biotechnological areas, which includes the plasma on the right-hand side of the platform is our traditional business. And then we have the adjuvanted vaccines, which includes both I think we are one of the first using cells to produce vaccines rather than eggs. And then now we're also moving into the mRNA therapeutics area. We have just the first of the self-amplifying mRNA COVID vaccine approved in Japan. And then we have the recombinant technologies to make recombinant proteins and monoclonal antibodies. Recombinant protein, like one of our star products of recombinant factor 9, that's Idelvion. And then we also have monoclonal antibodies like garadacimab, that's anti-factor 12, that's probably would be marketed next year. And then we have just launched our first approved gene therapy for hemophilia, Hemgenix, using cell and gene therapy. Okay, so, but on that transformation, that's a very big audacious goal, but how we really want to get there, we just realized that we really have to invest very heavily in digital and data science. That's why in 2022, the board had approved a 5-year, $50 million investment into our data science teams to build that kind of capability. So data science and bioinformatics is actually still very young at CSL. We started in 2013 with only one bioinformatician. And 5 years later, that number only grew by another 5, plus another PhD student and a few interns. That's all we had. And we didn't even get our own high-performance computing cluster until 2019. So it was only 4 years ago. But since then, it's also at that point, we knew that our ambition to expand our portfolio by 3 times, that's what the board said, right? And our urge to increase that kind of probability of success and to reduce the development time calls for a much stronger data science and bioinformatics capabilities. We want more data, a lot more. And when I talk about data, I put this into the PPP sense of data. The first P I refer to as being public data, which is what's published out there, what's available, everyone can apply and download it. And then the second P is being private data that's being internally generated through CSL internal studies. And then the proprietary data, which we know from third-party companies that you can acquire, purchase, and subscribe. But also very importantly, the investment goes into the supporting all the needed data science capabilities. That's why what we call the Biomedical Data Science Initiative was formed. And that comes into about 5 sections of essential development. The first and the foremost is data verification. Like what Dave just talked about, being fair is to have findable, accessible, interpretable, and reusable data. And we really need that to help with the integration of all the 3 Ps together. And then we are also, the second piece is to acquire or onboard commercial bioinformatics platforms and solutions that will allow us to bring in curated and subscribed public data sets rather than doing everything ourselves from the ground up. And then also to partner with external bodies, like what we talked about, the biobanks and other medical hospitals and all that, to bring in clinical data and analytic sources by partnerships or subscriptions. And then the other 2 parts, one is regarding to our scalability and capability, both in terms of the hardware, infrastructure, and the software in the cloud. And that brings with it the scalability and the global operation that we can enable. And the last but not the very least is the people. We want to train up people who are rightly cross-disciplinary. We want to have biostatisticians, biomedical data managers, and then we have bioinformaticians. We also have what we call the digital life scientists as well. And they all ultimately come together into supporting and delivering one big umbrella function, what we call asset positioning. And we put this as called the multimodal asset positioning, or MAP. It's an acronym, like all bioinformaticians love is to make an acronym. All right. So now this MAP is critical for our R&D strategy to deliver what we call the 2030 strategy. To grow our portfolio by 3 times, as I said, this platform aims to improving project cycle times, reducing the development time, increasing the probability of success, and prioritize so that we can we can use our drugs to get to the right target in the right cell type at the right time for the right patient. So that's a lot of right things to do. AstraZeneca actually put this as the 7 R's. I think I've only said 5 here, but there are a lot more of the right things to do. Okay, yep. So how we do that? So building an analytics platform without taking the science into consideration is not going to make a lot of difference. So how our approach is to start from a pathomechanism approach, from understanding the disease drug target, what is actually lacking in terms of leading to disease. So we know that healthy systems produce the right molecule in the right cell types, in the right place, in the right time, with the right amount. So one aspect is to capture how this happens in healthy and disease systems. And then the underlying layer is the disease. Ideally, we want to understand at the molecular level, cellular level, and the clinical level, so that we can better understand the disease. At what point do we actually intervene and treat to get the best outcome? So in the middle, bridging that, is the MAP system, trying to associate our drug target to disease, and really understanding, what are we doing with comprehensive disease understanding, with profound characterization of our drug, and then to really facilitate that improved probability of success. So here I'm showing you the map to the map, and what are we bringing into this multimodal assay positioning is genetic data, omics data, assay data, and then we have the patient data as well as the knowledge. All this kind of data, technically can also be divided into what I said the 3 Ps before. We have a lot of public data from UK Biobank, FinGen for the genetics. We have also public data on the knowledge piece from the published literature. And then we have internal data from omics, also from public data, on the omics. We also have, for the assay data, most of them will be proprietary data. And we have posters on the genetics and the assay data in I think, the ABACBS. Please visit this booth if you can. And then for the patient data, this will be more proprietary data or through partnership with hospitals and biobanks and to get those information. In the knowledge, this is mainly publicly available, but the generation of machine-readable format is through data as a service model. So all of these components, we have various degree of AIs applied to this to better understand, ultimately, the 5 things that we want to do. It's about target prioritization, it's about indication prioritization, adverse event prediction, and stratification of both either the patient or disease to improve that probability of success and to achieve that precision medicine. I'm going to skip this one. I'm going to skip this one. I'm going to come to here. So we have already started our journey in terms of adopting AI and machine learning back in 2018, starting from what Greg Bass had been doing with a lot of image analytics using machine learning, and then we're starting exploring the knowledge mining of the literature with machine learning and AI as well, real-world data in silico biologics. But where are we heading now? Especially with the advent of generative AI, a lot of things, the possibility are coming online. Knowledge mining with generative AI, using a natural language model, you just talk to them and say, what is this target going to do with this particular disease? And it's going to throw your literature and come back with a lot of information. It's hopefully will leave no stone unturned in terms of understanding a disease. And we have biomedical image analytics, unlocking image analytics of various types of imaging, on top of cellular and cell assays, and tissue sections. And we also want to achieve, hopefully, what the life scientists dream of a no-code integrated data science and multi-omic analysis. So they don't really rely on a lot of bioinformaticians and say that you're going to be a problem. Okay, all right. Actually, I'm going to skip that one too. And I want to come to just the acknowledgement. So in drug development, it's really a big team effort. Research is the part that we are in. Is only a very small part of that the whole journey of drug development. We involve clinical development on the operations and then commercial partners, and also enable our drug discovery and improve our business through innovation. And how we're doing that is to partner with scientific institutions. So that's why we form an alliance, what we call the CSL WIHA Translational Data Science Alliance, to support that kind of innovation. All right, with that, I'd like to thank everyone for listening, and that's all.